Canelo Crawford.
It's tricky. I want Crawford to win, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. You know, I would like for that to happen, but this guy's a hard puncher. He's a smart fighter. He can move. I'm just curious. I just want to see it. I want to be there to see it.
He feels like this is a ridiculous fight. He states that Terence Crawford moving up 2 weight classes.
The fight, I just didn't like the fact that Terence Crawford had to go up 2 weight classes. I just didn't really like that. I mean,
Mike Tyson gave his can to take on Terence Crawford, considering a move up to fight Canelo Alvarez. In Tyson's view, Crawford has already secured his status as a legend and has no obligation to prove himself further. He warned that stepping up against a naturally bigger opponent is a dangerous gamble that could harm, rather than enhance Crawford's reputation. Tyson stressed that weight divisions are created to maintain fairness, and bypassing them makes the challenge far more difficult. While acknowledging Crawford's brilliance, Tyson urged him to protect what he has accomplished instead of risking it all in an ill-advised matchup.
I just don't think it's a good idea. You know, I'm thinking, what would he have? I don't know. I just don't think it's a good idea. People have done things crazy like that before. It's just that he doesn't have to do it. He doesn't have to do it.
You posted the other day, there's a picture of you in a Rolls Royce, and you said that the quote is, "I can't remember how many of these I gave away."
Canelo Crawford.
It's tricky. I want Crawford to win, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. You know, I would like for that to happen, but this guy's a hard puncher. He's a smart fighter. He can move. I'm just curious. I just want to see it. I want to be there to see it. Because listen, there's been upsets like that before. You know, Henry Armstrong, 124 pounds, he beat the 146-pound champ. So, you know, you never know. Anything can happen when 2 men are in a ring or in a basketball court. Anything can happen.
Tyson dismissed the idea of Crawford facing Canelo, describing the fight as unreasonable because weight limits exist for fighter safety. He emphasized that the physical gap between the 2 men is too wide to ignore. In his eyes, the bout would be unfair and overshadow the remarkable career Crawford has already built. Tyson openly expressed his dislike for the proposal, warning that battling someone naturally larger creates dangers that should not be overlooked. Although he admires Crawford's skills, Tyson argued the fight is unnecessary and risks damaging rather than elevating his legacy.
Think about Terence Crawford calling out Canelo.
You know, I don't like that fight.
Why not?
I don't like that fight. It's just too much weight, you know, and he had a close fight with the last guy he fought, Terence, because this guy was big and he was awkward. He was really awkward. He shouldn't have fought that guy. He should have fought a guy that was just come straight at him. The guy was too awkward.
He's herky-jerky, yeah.
Dora, one of them.
Yeah.
See, it's a missing art.
9 wins by way of knockout. And Mike Tyson, he feels like this is a ridiculous fight. He states that Terence Crawford moving up 2 weight classes is a ridiculous fight, and that he's just simply too small, and he's gonna lose, and lose bad. He feels like he didn't want to say it, but he hinted around he's gonna get knocked out, right? He thinks that, you know, Terence Crawford has skills, he's talented, but he just feels like there's weight class for a reason. Like many people in the sport of boxing, they feel like it's weight classes for a reason. And so, you know, he's not the first person to feel this way. But my thoughts is this. Should Terence Crawford be victorious, as I expect him to, the hype train for Terence Crawford's legacy only gets bigger. Because there's so many people that are doubting Terence Crawford's ability to beat Canelo Alvarez because of the size, right? They feel like this is David and Goliath. And that story, that mythical story, is so big and so legendary is because of the size difference. You had the small little guy, you know, slaying the giant, right? It's just not supposed to happen. And so this just bolsters the myth of Terence Crawford.
British journalist Gareth A. Davies framed the possible Crawford-Canelo showdown as a defining chapter in boxing history. For Davies, Crawford stepping in against a larger, more established superstar is more than just another bout. It is the kind of challenge that forges legacy. He argued that every great champion faces a crossroads where courage and ambition are tested, and this could be Crawford's moment. By taking on Canelo, Crawford has the opportunity to silence doubts about the scope of his achievements. Davies explained that while weight and size are valid concerns, the true story here is legacy and how greatness is remembered. He acknowledged the danger of tarnishing an unbeaten record, but stressed that the greatest fighters are remembered for taking immense risks. According to him, such daring choices are what transform elite athletes into enduring icons of the sport.
Well, Canelo got a world champion right now in his camp with him with Boots. Well, Boots vacated.
Shakur, though.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how much Shakur adds to this. He's a southpaw and he's a smaller guy. I think that's just sharp brain. That's like if Boots was boxing Celine. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, I'm boxing him. My young boy nice, but he don't pertain to the fight necessarily. But everybody don't train like that anyway. Everybody don't look for to have all of these sparring partners be like identical or in the same realm of the person they fighting. Some people, they spar like for sharp minds, so they'll just try to have the best people they can have. So you never know what Bomac and them strategy is right there.
As far as stylistically, who do you feel like has the advantage heading into that? Well, I'm just looking at the sparring partners.
From the sparring partners?
Yeah.
I think Boots not the same as Terence Crawford, right? But I think he has athleticism and he's a switcher and he'll kind of go off for the playbook to do his thing. I think mind state wise, I think Boots is a big help. The guys that Crawford got in there, because
Mr. Martinez cracking.
No, he punching. That's what I'm saying. It's like, I feel like, bro, I don't know who got the best of that.
You ever seen Darrell Valsaint?
I have. You know, I'm a Haitian boy, so you know what I'm saying? But it's just hard. It's hard to, man, I just think the sparring for this fight is elite on both sides. I think that they both taking each other seriously. You could tell that by the sparring partners that they brought in. And I'm just kind of anxious to see the fight. Like going into the fight, I just didn't like the fact that Terence Crawford had to go up 2 weight classes. I just didn't really like that. I mean, being honest, as a black boxing fan, when I take my coaching hat off, like, no, I don't want to see our best fighter have to go up 2 weight classes. I don't like that. But you think about it and you like, well, look, first of all, I don't want to deny that man. I wouldn't want to say nothing or even have it in my heart to deny that man that kind of financial like blessing that he gonna get from fighting Canelo. Not only that, he chasing greatness.
Dawood Bey, a respected boxing insider, shared his analysis of how Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford prepare for their biggest challenges. He drew comparisons between their training camps, noting the structured sparring partners and intense drills in Canelo's corner, tailored to mimic future opponents. Canelo's team designs each session to test weaknesses and prepare for all scenarios. Crawford, meanwhile, relies on his adaptability and technical sharpness, though Bey questioned whether his sparring truly matches the task of moving up against a naturally bigger champion. Bey underscored how critical sparring is to readiness and stated clearly he opposes Crawford taking the fight. For him, Crawford's resume is already complete, undefeated, decorated in multiple divisions, and widely respected. Bey argued that fighting Canelo adds needless risk, since fans already value Crawford's dominance. He warned that stepping so far outside his natural weight range turns the fight into a gamble that could jeopardize his standing rather than strengthen it.
The levels that he's gone through, the weights that he's gone through, and the opponents that he has been in with, he's come up short against a couple. But he's come through some big challenges as well through his, 65, 66 professional bouts since he was 15 years of age. There's no doubt that this is the biggest test of Terence Crawford's career, not only because of the weight step up, but also because of the level of the opponent. But anybody that's watched Terence Crawford's career knows full well how much talent this young man has. I mean, he is absolutely sensational, both as an orthodox and as a southpaw fighter. You can't really tell which is his favoured side. He's that good, the angles that he creates, and the way that he not only dissects people, but the way that he puts his foot down when he gets somebody hurt is
he's spiteful.
He's truly, truly impressive.
But what he also does, and this is where I think people are making the mistake with the fight with Israel Madrimov last last summer in Los Angeles, was that Terence doesn't mind doing enough to win. He doesn't, if he knows he's got to win on points, he's happy to tuck everything neatly in the office and win round by round. It reminds me of Floyd Mayweather. It reminds me of Pernell Whitaker. It reminds me of guys that win with ease without overstretching themselves, that don't have to get in a battle. But when he's got someone hurt, as you rightly say, he's spiteful. I'm not sure he'll get Canelo hurt in this fight. But if his timing and his movement are on, the slightly slowed Canelo, who likes to load up these days, could find himself frustrated by Terence Crawford.
Yeah, and there's also the aspect of when he is behind. I mean, we've all seen that famous clip where he's fighting Sean Porter. Somebody sells him ringside. They've got him down on the cards. He goes through the gears and stops Sean Porter in the very next round. There's also that element to him. He's brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant, but he's also fighting someone that's equally as brilliant. A very different type of style, Canelo.
And a fan favorite.
An analyst examined Canelo Alvarez's remarks about movement in the ring, noting his rejection of the idea that mobility should be criticized as running. Canelo argued that real boxing requires more than just throwing punches. It blends footwork, timing, and strategy. He stressed that skilled fighters adjust their stance, use angles, and stay mobile to create opportunities, rather than merely exchanging blows. The analyst pointed to Canelo's reference to Erislandy Lara, whose elusive style displayed precision and smart positioning. For Canelo, these tactics highlight boxing's complexity and should not be reduced to avoidance. His message was clear. The essence of the sport lies in execution, intelligence, and adaptability. The analyst concluded that Canelo's stance reinforces a broader truth. Winning in boxing is about strategy and ring IQ, not just brute force or relentless pressure.
But in case you didn't really understand what he was saying, Canelo is saying there's a difference between boxing, like being a boxer, and moving, and then you throw some punches. Like you getting some punches in there. Then you like take a lap. Then you get some more punches. Right? And I agree with that. I agree. Like, my thing is this. If you know my channel, I've been doing this from way back. We go back like cornrows. I have never really been big on this whole like running language. Like I don't, because you got to understand, old media, they were the ones that came out with this whole running charade. And I don't like it because it was initially used to like maim and marginalize oftentimes black fighters and Cuban fighters. When non-black, non-Cuban fighters would face certain black fighters or Cuban fighters primarily, they would get hit with this like, oh, he ran moniker. And the reason you know it was racially motivated is because if you actually know boxing and you watch the fight, that's not even what was happening in the fights where they would claim that oftentimes a black fighter or Cuban fighter ran. Like Erislandy Lara versus Canelo. I thought Lara won the fight with Canelo. And Lara was doing some very good work. Canelo started doing some good body shots in the back half.
Timothy Bradley Jr. responded to worries about Terence Crawford's inactivity. Leading into a major fight, critics argue that long absences could dull his sharpness. But Bradley dismissed those concerns. He pointed out that extended breaks are common for elite fighters and cited Floyd Mayweather as proof, recalling how he returned from layoffs to deliver dominant performances. Bradley emphasized that Crawford's discipline and dedication to training ensure he remains prepared, even without frequent competition. In his eyes, Crawford's professionalism and fitness allow him to stay sharp, and fears of ring rust are overstated. Bradley expressed confidence that Crawford would step into the ring, ready to perform at his usual high level.
Yeah, man, I was thinking, man, like a lot of people is making a fuss about Crawford being out of the ring for over a year, you know. I'm not putting too much stock into that, man. I'm not really, you know, Floyd Mayweather's came back from after a year. Shoot, I remember John Jones, 3 years out of the game, you know, and I know it's a different sport, but it's still combat sports. 3 years out of the game, came back, faced the champion, beat him. beat the champion. Crawford took the time to really build his body up, man, the way he needed to build it up. And I like his build because just looking at pictures and stuff like that, man, he put a lot of the weight on his legs. That's gonna help with stability. That's gonna help with punching power. It's gonna help with his ability to be able to take a shot too. He get razzled and dazzled in there from one of them big shots from Canelo. He gonna have some stability. He gonna have a base to be able to keep himself up. I always say, partly to be able to take a punch. I say, it's a lot to do with physical. It also has a lot to do with mental, and it also has a lot to do with genetics. Some guys can take it more than others. That's just it. Some guys can take it more than others, man. But, I would say we all feel like the same thing when we do get hit with a big shot. You hear that ringing in your ears. That's your brain bouncing around off that skull. Some part of you get numb, especially if it's a big shot. Your legs might get numb, your arm might get numb. I remember when I got knocked on my behind against Kendall Holt, man, my right leg went numb.
Manny Pacquiao's trainer voiced serious concern over Crawford's possible fight with Canelo. He noted that Crawford has never officially competed against someone of Canelo's size and strength. While sparring bigger men offers experience, he argued it cannot replicate the pressure of a real championship fight. Once the lights come on, every punch from a naturally larger foe carries greater impact, something Crawford has not truly faced. He cautioned that entering this new weight territory is unlike any test Crawford has had before. With Canelo's history of defeating top fighters across heavier divisions, the trainer warned the challenge might simply be too much, regardless of Crawford's talent. He stressed the danger of facing such a proven, bigger opponent is undeniable.
I was fought 168 for quite a few years.
Correct.
Yeah. Crawford's never fought heavy more than 54 than that.
And
that makes a big difference when you're in the ring. You're carrying around an extra 20 pounds you're not used to fighting with.
He might get tired halfway through the fight because why? Because the blood cells, the muscle.
Trying to feed up too much muscle in that. Yeah. It's not normal if you're not used to it.
Okay, what if he stays skinny and he comes in way under the weight?
Then he's gonna get hurt. You might outbox him, you're gonna get hit. 12-round fight. The law of averages tells you you're gonna get hit.
And you like Crawford because I know he's been to your gym. It's just boxing, no bias.
No, it's just boxing.
Okay.
No. Bud's a good guy.
And sport. It's athletics. Crawford has never been up there. Canelo's got a great chin. He's fought big guys. He's taken a lot. And everybody thinks he's done.
Another commentator focused on the vital role of size in boxing, pushing back against fans who claim that skill alone decides fights. He reminded audiences that weight classes exist precisely to level the playing field between fighters of similar build and power. He explained that while Crawford's technical mastery is beyond dispute, matching him with someone as naturally large and strong as Canelo disrupts that balance. Ignoring these size differences undermines the fairness that boxing's divisions are designed to ensure. The analyst insisted that size is not a minor factor, but a decisive one, and dismissing its influence means overlooking one of the sport's core principles.
Bro, size matters. And what kills me, this is what bothers me so much, that I try to educate y'all. If you don't know how to fight, the only people who say shit like this are guys who don't know how to fight. They don't know boxing. You've never been in there before. Bro, I am telling you, something y'all need to understand. This is just like when I used to tell y'all for the longest. Y'all, I got videos on my page from 10 years ago, and I'm telling y'all that MMA fighters have terrible boxing. They have terrible boxing. This is the time when y'all was saying, this is before the crossover fights and shit. And I'm like, MMA fighters don't stand a chance against a boxer in a boxing match. And y'all just thought, they can use, y'all are actually talking about people's wrestling backgrounds when it comes to boxing. Y'all are actually on here trying to talk about someone's wrestling skills helping them win a boxing match. Bro, wrestling is not going to help a boxer the same way boxing skills ain't going to help an NCAA wrestler in a wrestling match. His boxing skills, it don't matter how good his hands are with boxing, that's not going to help him win a wrestling match. You can have all the wrestling skills in the world. That is not going to fucking help you in a boxing match if you don't know how to box. If you're not a better boxer than the guy you're going against, your wrestling is not going to help you win. It's just not. It's two different sports, bro.